Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, now we're joined by Favour Ezeifedi, who is a councillor. Favour Ezeifedi. Apologies there. Well, she's a councillor in Watford, and I know many of you remember Jenny Gallo.
The first African.
Right. The first African. She is there, but it's a famous city for football fans in this country, so they could easily identify with that. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Now we're talking about this bill. What kind of issues should we consider? Should it get to public debate, or should we just leave it to the Senate? But you face these kind of issues too. How do you handle some of this when you debate it?
I want to start by saying that UK democracy is advanced. And when we come to the chamber to debate, bills don't get thrown out just like that. But then, just listening to what was going on, I could see why it had to happen that way. It's because of the sensitivities people felt. The first thing is that the rule of law supersedes every other thing. And I was discussing with someone the other day. I'm going to be qualified as a social worker in July. And there's a fundamental rule in social work. And that fundamental rule is safeguarding supersedes religion and culture. So when there's an issue to protect human life, you cannot place it above safeguarding. So safeguarding takes precedence over religion or culture. And I think we need to go back a little bit to look at what our Constitution provides. Who are we? Are we really a secular society? And if we are, our Constitution should override every other thing. Because if we're not careful, we will be disappointing the most vulnerable. It's not just about gender, it's about the most vulnerable. In the UK, we have what we call the Equality Act, 2010. That Equality Act came into force to protect the most vulnerable, both women, children, disabled, the elderly. And the law made provisions as to how these people will be protected.
How did you tell us, give us some background. How did you get to become the first African councillor in Watford?
I came to UK, funny enough, in 2009. My journey was a different kind of journey because I experienced some of the things a lot of women experienced in marriage that were not very pleasant. And so I had to leave. So going to UK was actually an exit strategy for me. So I had to apply in those days for what they call highly skilled manpower work permits. I used to be a head of division in the then V-Mobile. So I had to leave to save my life, in reality. So when I came to UK in 2009, I had to join the Labour Party because I was trying to kind of find my feet and find people to figure out what is going on in the society. And then I was doing voluntary work for one organization. It's a magazine, and Tony Blair used to write, publish articles in that magazine. So that's how I got really in touch with Labour Party before Ed Miliband became the leader of Labour Party. So about 2010, when Ed Miliband became the leader of the Labour Party, he said he wanted to recruit some people that would be called future candidates all over the UK. I think we were about 200. So I applied in my constituency, and I wasn't sure that I was going to be taken, but I was encouraged to apply by members of my constituency because I was involved in the ethnic minority group. And so that's how I was selected. And I went through that training, for a couple of weekends. All the former leaders were there, and they equipped us on how to become, public officers. So after that training, I didn't continue because I had to bring over my daughter, and she was I brought her when she was 3 going to 4. So I had to give attention to her to settle down. But then about, I think a year later, the Labour Party got in touch with me. And they were like, what are you doing with yourself? Why are you not coming up to do something with all the training you've got? So I said, no, I just want my daughter to settle down. I've got so much on my table. I'm working, I'm a single mother, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And they said, don't worry, come for a meeting somewhere. We are going to have a chat. And so they invited me for a meeting, a place we call Welling Garden City. So I went there, and lo and behold, most of the people there were women. And there were women that had had children, and there were women that still have children. And there were women that were married, and there were women that were single. And so they sat me down and said, we're going to support you, we've been through what you are going through. So don't worry, we're going to support you if you really want to go ahead. So I picked up myself and I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then, before then, I was a governor in my daughter's school, it's an academy. So kind of my face had become very popular because of that. So I went through the primary. I didn't know what to say in the primary. But I just said to them, I'm quite new in the country, but one thing I know is that I've once been successful and I've once been vulnerable. So wherever you are, I will meet you at your need because I can understand you. And when I finished that, they did their votes and I won the primary. And so people were surprised. They said, what did you say to them? I said, I only told them the truth about myself. And that is, I've once been vulnerable, I've once been successful. So I understand both ends. And so we started campaigning. That was my first election. And then I didn't win that election. Because the ward I contested then was where I was living.
So you lost the first time?
I lost the first time. I did. So there's something the Labour Party does that is called All Women Shortlist. It's a deliberate strategy by Labour Party to ensure that in every winnable seat, a woman must be shortlisted at the level of primary.
That's a deliberate policy.
That's a deliberate policy. If you look at these pictures, you understand what I'm saying. So this particular Kaloland that I won, there was a by-election coming up, and the other two were already men. So it had to be all women shortlist. But before then, I had started studying. I'm doing a master's program in social work in Brunei. So I said to the Labour Party, I'm not going to be able to contest because my hands are full, like I said. But they said, no, you are very popular. The people like you. Because as I said, after I became a governor, I became a trustee governor for a multi-trust academy. So people kind of know me fairly well. So because they made that seat all women shortlist, I was the best possible person in the pool of candidates. So I had to go through another primary. So I went through that primary, came through. It wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was easy. If you look at that paper, you see I'm the only black person there. So it wasn't easy. I contested against what we call sons of the soil, people that were born and bred there. And some of them were head boys in schools. We are contested. But one thing I can say for sure is that UK politics is fair and well advanced. Because people listen to what you have to say and who you are and what you do before they can vote for you. It's not like here. You virtually know everybody in your ward. You virtually know everybody. I can tell you I knocked on virtually every door in my ward before I won the election. And even on the election day, I can tell you I knocked on every door on the same election day.
That's grassroots politics.
Grassroots politics. And they need to check your credentials. What have you done in your community? Is it about you? Why do you want to serve? And they did check, and they could see what I have done at the schools where I was a governor.